right away between Dave Wiegand and Lukeman, who again like that tournament was amazing, and it was I think the first tournament that had those rigorous anti-cheating rules. And again, it's just amazing to bring the game of Scrabble onto the interwebs like that, because as we know, there are issues with games like Scrabble and chess and poker. There's cheating, as there is with just about any game online. So it's really amazing that we came up with this idea to have tournament players show their hands and their screens, just to limit as much as possible.
Yep, very common practice in chess and poker and all other games that are played seriously online. And we see Mac with the pun in the chat. What do you think Dave will open with against Lukeman here? And in fact, he does not play against, he plays anti-sag. So Dave starting out with a nice play, but wow, look at this rack for
Oh boy.
Lukeman. He's got some real power here. And not only that, he can play Fox underneath anti-sag,
Yep.
setting up Saz
Yep.
for an enormous score. That feels like a great play unless there's something else.
No, Fox looks really, really good here, making IF, SO, and AX, setting up that huge play of SOZ
Yeah.
if he draws an E.
I wonder though if Dave needs to not have an E himself for this setup to ever really work, of course, just because that spot underneath Fox, if that's the direction that Lukeman chooses to go, ultimately, maybe that spot gets blocked so often that he should just play FAIX on top of anti-sag. Fay. That scores 50 points, a significant amount more points. And I guess that's probably the setup potential of Fox is so likely to get blocked that maybe it's okay to just play that play instead.
Yeah, FAIX, I didn't see that. I think that's probably the right play. I mean, it's hard to turn down such an amazing setup.
I was
but
going to
think,
defer to you. I was going to say I defer to the king of the setup on whether you think Fox is worth playing here or whether it's just going to get blocked too much.
Basically 15 points you're giving up. I think that's just too much. Even if the setup works, well, he does it. Oh, we'll see. And look at this.
It's the absolute, oh my God. It's going to be so difficult for Dave to block this. Look at this. He only has one vowel. It's an O. Not only can he not really play anything underneath Fox, he can't even overlap AX, right? Like you could block it if you could play something with Vax here, right?
Yeah,
he can't even do that. And Lukeman does not draw an E. Lukeman does not draw an E. He could have just crushed it.
Amazingly here. Now Lukeman has the choice of trying to set it up again somewhere else on the board. He could play just something
I think he needs to just play Za or Zilch or something here.
Probably, but like
unfortunately,
if he plays something maybe like Chiliad, I don't really see a good follow-up. But I mean that spot is so huge. I was thinking that maybe I didn't see Abvolt. I was thinking that maybe Dave would play Taxol to the AX, which would just make Lukeman's life so much
nice idea. Wow, Taxol.
But Abvolt looks a lot better to get rid of that B and that V. So
yeah, I guess Taxol, even though it scores a fair number more points, I guess it leaves BVD something, right? BVDT. Okay.
Yeah.
Clearly, Abvolt gets you out of that mess immediately.
Definitely. And it's funny that we see Abvolt on the board after that play of Volt by Ori. Everyone was talking about all the extensions, so we got to see an extension of Volt just in a different game.
That's true.
Zilch here looks very strong. That's 46 points, isn't it?
But he'll have to be tempted because that Saz spot scores so well. He's definitely going to be tempted. Instead, he correctly plays Zilch, and Dave is gonna hit it hard.
Yeah,
he's gonna play a bingo here.
Erudite or below that H. Probably
interesting. Playing it
below is fine. It's 2 more points.
So in
And yeah,
Collins, I just want to add that erudite does take an S in Collins, and that could. I think both players are going to know that. There actually is a bingo playable in response for Lukeman here of awarding to the G of
awarding. Yeah.
anti-sag. So this board after this bingo, which I fully expect Lukeman to find as soon as he considers that G, um, the board is going to be completely wide open with the giant S hook on erudites and so many lines, and we do see erudite come down, and the
We'll
board
probably
it is
see.
a 1 point lead for Dave
Oh,
now.
this is an interesting spot now, though, actually. I was gonna say we'll probably see Mewed through that W, but yeah, it's basically a tie game. Dave has the first shot at all of those spots. He drew 3 E's, but he can play Mewed through that W, or Melee. He can make a really cool overlapping play.
He can actually play model underneath erudite too.
Oh, that too.
So
That
he
looks
has
great, yeah.
many nice options here, but all of them just continue to add to the volatility of the board. I mean, there's just so much going on here.
Yeah, model
And
for
there it
sure.
is.
It's
There
50
is
points.
model. Um,
Oh,
so
wow. Okay, this doesn't look that great at
yeah,
first
it's
sight.
again, this is a turn where there is a Collins move that just stands
Oh,
out
yeah.
massively from the rest of the pack of
Mhm.
Ouija, like a Ouija board. Ouija, a 5-letter word consisting of a J and 4 vowels. You better believe that's an important word to know.
It's extremely important, and I honestly should have seen it. Will, do you know that Yahoo Answers YouTube video where it's people just trying to
Yes, the
spell Ouija?
pronunciations of Ouija, one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I love that video. There's another video like that with
Yeah, with
pregnant,
pregnancy, yeah.
and it's one of the funniest videos. And we see Ouija go down. So both players playing very well in the early going here. Hard to find any fault with a single move that's been made, except maybe Fox, where he would have wanted Lukeman to play FAIX Fey on top of anti-sag. But again, he could
Yeah.
easily have hit his Z bomb in that spot and made it all work out. So very well played game so far.
And I think actually linguistically the word Ouija is very interesting because it just is like it's yes, yes. If it's French and then German, it's just yes, yes.
Did not know that. Is that actually the etymology of that somehow, or it's just a random
No.
coincidence?
It's just very funny.
Gotcha.
I'm just trying to flex my knowledge of language, but
That's far beyond mine. I only took Latin when I was in school, so the deadest language that is very much impossible to speak. Well, it's not impossible, but it's a lot easier when a language actually is in current usage to learn how to speak it. So all I know is the language of Scrabble and all the strange words that we have in the dictionary. So
you can understand mass at the Vatican.
that's true, and that does justify the many years of study that I put into that language. No, I loved studying classics. So I'm not gonna say I regret it at all,
Can you
but
pronounce that little
yeah,
chat that happy one there?
Will, quid est tu. How are you? It's hi Will, how are you? Um, thanks Mac. I'm doing good. As we see, oh man, wow. Okay, Dave plays K in a very nice spot, leaving good bingo
Oh
tiles, and
man.
we will see a counter bingo from Lukeman here on the bottom row of egotized. So
No, we'll probably
absolutely.
see egotized. No? To the
Oh yeah,
T.
double double. Of course. That's a
Actually,
bit
what
better.
scores more? 4, 9, 80,
90. Yeah, for
94,
sure.
90, 94. Yeah.
It's 5 more points to play egotized. Absolutely. That's an oversight by me. It actually plays all over the place.
And go
But
go a tease.
and the board is so open here with so many opportunities. Oh wow. Okay. So Lukeman correctly plays egotized for 90, and Dave, to his decent bingo leave, of AEIL. He needed that to fill out with consonants, and his odds of getting a bingo down would have been very good. Instead, he drew 3 vowels. That's going
We've
to
seen that
slow
again. We've
him
seen that
down.
again. Like this is the second time we see Dave really trying to go for that bingo and yeah, just drawing all those vowels.
Yep. That's going to slow him down terribly. So really, only one more good draw here for Lukeman is going to give him pretty firm command of this game, I think. If he's able to get a nice draw on his next turn. Meanwhile, what is Dave going to do here? Is he going to play something like a
Yeah,
Wii?
a wee looks pretty
Oh,
good.
that's good. And again, in Collins, a Wii takes an L hook, and he has an L in hand.
Oh
So
wow.
a Wii actually has an extra benefit here that I'm just now realizing could be a tremendous play that benefits Dave Wiegand a lot
So for
here.
all the French lovers in chat, we'll have a wee yeah, and then we'll have oh wee.
Yeah,
That
right.
would be really funny.
We, all in
And
the
then
top.
we'll also have ya making ya again.
2 Wiis and
Sorry,
2
I'm
Yas in that
enjoying
upper
myself.
corner.
I'm enjoying myself too much over
That's the
here.
fun. Well, hey, that's part of the fun of Scrabble is noticing those odd coincidences with the words that we get down. And like for example,
Oh,
okay,
that's
so he
too bad.
goes for owie instead. That's interesting. Wow, Lukeman's drawn the Q along with 2 U's, and he will have places to play this.
Mm.
Continuing to, wow, he can play Quinta on top of egotized,
Yep.
holding another U to go down with that
Yeah.
Q.
Yeah,
Right? So that's, oh
that's
my
like a
God.
paradise play, and
Oh my
okay,
God.
this might be it
Lukeman, yeah, that
already.
play, it scores 55, and he keeps the final U in the bag as a potential comeback to play down from that Q. Again, he's going to potentially hit another 50 or more point play in that spot. Huge. Um, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good suggestion.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're definitely thinking about that. The Scrabblist, great point. I saw a good comment in the chat earlier. I hope we addressed it adequately. Of like, how do you get better lists of what words to learn? We definitely always want to address that. I think we did describe how you can download this program Ziziva and sort by the words that you're likeliest to see. But if anybody has questions like that, please, we're here. We love to answer questions like that and help newer players understand how to get started on that road to improvement. So all right, Dave is in dire straits here.
Yeah, I was
um,
considering that play. He could also have played area through the R and awarding for a lot less, but setting up his E and his L for area and aerial. But yeah, I think the play of Aya, you got to start scoring. But Quench comes down, and I mean now,
Quench. There actually was an even better play than Quench of Checky. The Collins word of Checky was available here. This word would have
oh
played through
wow,
that queue for slightly more points, but Quench does have the advantage of blocking the R hook on Aya, right? So Dave's previous play of AIA, there are 4 R's left in the bag to be drawn. So Quench does have a nice little extra advantage there. So yeah, it's not, I would hardly call Quench a big mistake. It scores 60 points, leaving the beautiful FY scoring combination, which I'm sure Lukeman will find a good spot to score with
and
those
I
two.
mean, although it does look extremely dire for Dave, I mean, we do see that there are like no vowels left. And so playing
Wow.
something like vape.
4 vowels.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing, if Dave plays vape and and DOE on row 15 for a really nice score and then draws a blank or 2 or an S, he's going to be in great shape to bingo for a lot of points.
It's
Whereas
a great point.
Lukeman, I
Both
mean,
blanks. Yeah.
He has the Y, so it's good to keep the Y for that reason because it can act like a vowel. But we
So
might see,
FY, he kept FY, and that plays right underneath Fox for a nice score. So
yeah,
we
that's
know
a
he has
huge,
that at least.
huge score. So, I mean, we still might see. Okay, so Paved was played, which scores even more. But I don't know. Yeah, I think no, I think that's just probably a better version of Vape. Um,
Well, he could have kept if he wanted to play vape down low, it would have maybe allowed him to play bingos ending in D sometimes, but I think that 50-point score for his play is probably enough to justify it, but that's a tricky one. Um, yeah. So
yeah,
now
Squish, I
it's
think that excites you a little bit too much when when you have all those vowels. I've seen him annotate games where he has tons of vowels and there's like no vowels left. He's just so happy
yeah.
when that happens.
It's fun.
Shout
Yeah,
out to
it's fun.
Squish. But yeah, look at this draw. Beautiful draw of the blank for Lukeman. So it's looking really, really bad at this
But he
point.
does have to pick up on that nuance that we were discussing of the vowel shortage. And
Mhm.
I was gonna say I think he's gonna play Phi over something like 4 by and Raya simply because he wants to hold on to that O. He wants to make sure that he only maybe needs one more vowel out of that bag to get a bingo down. Uh, so yeah, I like that choice to keep hold of his lone vowel and see if he can just get one more. I think that's going to be enough for Lukeman to get a bingo down and finish this off. Um, so for Dave, he kind of has to play Ren here, doesn't he? And Raya, I can't imagine what else.
N yeah, okay,
Maybe
no,
not.
that's a good play. You could also play with the same letters, Riwan and Zhao. I don't know which scores more.
That's true. That's
37.
nice. Leaves a little bit more open on the bottom, but it's yeah hard to say
Yeah,
between those.
Ren is 2 more points. So maybe, yeah. I think Ren is 2 more points, so that looks good.
Yep.
And another vowel draw for Lukeman. That's just great.
Yeah, of course it does. The only issue is that it accompanies with a P, which BP is a very weak um, synergy between those two tiles. Both of them 3-point tiles that like to be the star of the show on the racks where they appear in bingos. They don't go together that well.
Nope.
Biotrope is a word though, Josh. Biotrope. So
Biotrove.
this is a word, and that is
Okay.
playable through
Wow.
the eye of Quinta. Now, Lukeman really doesn't have to see that. I didn't see it until Josh wrote biotrope in the chat. Um, Josh Castellano, I should say, not my co-commentator. But yeah, even if Lukeman doesn't see this unbelievable 8-letter find, he's still in very, very good shape here. Even if he literally just plays something like Bop on the bottom of the board, or maybe there's some way to play through the A of awarding that allows you to keep your vowels together.
Yeah, maybe just bat
Just
there.
bat, yeah, just bat there. Looks like it's probably better.
I think he has a
Well,
bunch of plays here that just win the game.
yeah, so Lukeman is in very good shape, even if he does not find the play of Biotrope, that is an unbelievable play. I did not see it myself until I got a hint
You would
in
have
the
seen it,
form
Will.
of I
Don't
hope
lie.
I would have.
Don't
I
lie.
hope, but it would have taken me some finding to come up with that. Um, so
But yeah,
wow.
I think bop and ump is probably the play here if you miss the crazy 8-letter word
Yep.
of biotroph.
So big win for Lukeman, and Dave still in the thick of it, but he was still sort of looking up a win behind Dave Koenig and Lukeman. So this would have been a big game for Dave Wiegand to win. Instead, Lukeman is going to set him back. So Dave Wiegand will be at least 2 games behind Lukeman and potentially Dave Koenig as well going into round 15. So
Yeah. I
Will takes
actually
time. Nice. Good comment
I
there.
actually I'm curious about this position because Happy Wanderer is saying Bop and Ump has to win like 100% anyway. And the like there is what's getting to me because it is true that it's conceivable that Dave can still win this game even if Lukeman plays Bop because it does leave 3 tiles in the bag, which allows Dave to make a scoring play and then bingo right after it. So it is potentially better to play more letters here. Um, like if you play something like maybe troop and ump, it might be a better idea because you only leave 1 letter in the bag. You go ahead by a lot of points. I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
I'd like to look at that maybe after if we have time, but
for sure. I'm
it,
sure we will. But yeah, it's
Bop is an
definitely
extremely strong play. It's a 50% chance that Lukeman has drawn the second blank, and there's
yeah.
a very good chance he's drawn one of those S's. So yeah, I mean, this
Dave
is
just
about it.
can't. Yeah, with only 3 tiles in the bag, it's going to be very difficult for Dave to come up with a good scoring play here. There's definitely spots like, for example, he could play through the A of awarding. He's got great scoring plays in that spot, um, like meanly or something like that that score very well, but they empty the bag and give him no chances of winning.
Mhm.
So this is basically a lost game situation for Dave.
We're seeing
So
a
we'll
lot of
see.
bop emojis in the chat.
Oh my
Will,
God!
yeah,
When you type
yeah.
bop, when you type bop, it makes an emote. Really funny
Um,
screen name asking me if I'm competing, and the answer is no, I am not. Both Josh and I are just purely commentating on this, and I'm definitely a lot of these online events that I've been commentating have really gotten my juices flowing to compete. And the event that I'm competing in the near future that I'm very excited about is the Coco Blitz championship. So I'm not particularly good at Blitz, but I'm gonna give it my best shot and see how I do. Um,
I'm doing that one too.
so I am excited for that.
Yeah, Will and I will be competing in that tournament. Hopefully, we get to play each other.
Woogles is here. Look at that. It is the spirit of Woogles in the chat. Um,
PogChamps 3, yep.
yeah, that's right.
Maybe PogChamp 17 will and
Hopefully
I
I can
will.
get enough clout, and Josh and I can get enough clout where we will be invited to participate in PogChamp 17. That's what we can hope for. So for any of the chess players in the chat coming over from Eric Rosen's channel or other chess channels, um, I definitely want to find time this year to improve my chess game, but I probably will be at the PogChamps level for a while. As
And
opposed to actually good.
I think back to this game, I want to mention that I think it's impossible, knowing that ROT blank was the leave that Lukeman had. I think it's impossible that he doesn't have a bingo with these
Wow.
letters. And if you're Dave, you're just like, what what is this? And it would be almost like really more painful if S blank, which we knew were in the bag at the time of Bop being played, if those are the letters in the bag, it would still probably just be insult to and this is what it I can't believe it. I was just saying it, and blank SS were the 3 tiles that Lukeman
Left.
left in the bag after
Wow.
Bop, and he's just gonna bingo here. It's just
And
ridiculous.
potentially, yeah, the problem is now finally the board was so open for so long that a bingo for Lukeman in just the right spot here. I would love if he could play one through the eye of Quinta. That would do the trick to block everything, right? So I don't know what he has through there. Maybe, boy, it doesn't maybe look like anything.
Regolith is all I
Oh,
see.
even just, oh my God, he has Gloater with 5 overlaps on
Oh,
top of Quinta. So that will
oh
do the
no.
trick. That will do the trick.
Oh boy.
Gloater there.
That would
Um,
be a hilarious word to
so
end the
that
game with.
yeah, just if he were to play something, just a 7 letter word, it's possible maybe that Dave will get a 9 through it or something starting with I. I'm not really sure what that would be with this pool. And he finds Gloater, beautiful play. That blocks possible bingos that Dave could have had. Both sevens that hook onto the U of Ouija and things like miss and roll through the I of Quinta. So tough game for Dave Wiegand here. Beautifully played by Lukeman, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had that first position of the game where we think FAIX was the right play over Fox, but I mean, who can blame someone for trying to make a huge setup play like that?
Certainly not you.
I would be so I would be so annoyed that I would have a better play to make, that I might still just make the setup play.
Yeah, and we saw how close we actually. It's kind of instructive to look at that play because there's so many ways that your setup after Fox can not be realized, right? Like it's such a good lucrative scoring spot for your opponent to play something with
I
an
see what you
axe
did there.
overlap.
Lucrative.
Yeah, that's right, Lukeman. But yeah, you can see even in those even in those situations where your opponent can't do anything, and we saw Dave had to play ab volt. He didn't have a good play that dealt with that big Fox Z setup, and then Lukeman didn't draw an E himself. So there are a lot of ways that that setup can sort of backfire, and you'll wish that you just took the extra points by playing Fae on top of anti-sag, Faix. So, yeah, that was, other than that, I mean, that is the tiniest little nuance of a change that we might make. Really quite well played game by both sides here, and a pretty exciting one, too. Really
Yeah.
action
And I mean,
packed game.
look at that score, 550. I mean, and he draws the S. I mean, that was just so crazy that
Yep.
the SS blank were the last. I mean, sometimes we freak out if the blank is the last tile in the bag, but SS blank, I mean, come on.
So, yep, Lukeman has nothing to do but find the best spot that he can to plop his S down, which happens to be Ouija's and Shin, but there's a number of other good spots that he'll score solidly. And that'll be it for that game. I've given everybody their channel points. Dave Wiegand, the overwhelming prediction favorite, but it was Lukeman who came out on top. So nicely done to whoever predicted this outcome. So okay, he plays ab volts for 2 fewer points. Can't say I just want to conserve that energy, get to that next game. Dave finishing with 2 seconds on his clock, 2.9 seconds on his clock. So using up every bit of time to try and fight his way back into this game, but it is Lukeman's game to win.
And congratulations to Cats and Kinder for all the channel points.
Oh yeah, that's what we pay him with, by the way. Channel points. That's what we're all. That's what we're all being paid with today.
Our man behind the scenes. I mean, yeah, like all of this. I mean, it's on Will's channel. Will's doing most of the commentary, but it looks so crisp. I mean, we even had Cesar in here wondering how he could see the transition that he keeps missing because he's playing in the tournament.
Well, is he here now? We can transition to the
He
analysis
just
board.
finished
Or
his game, so maybe he'll be in here in a second. Yeah.
oh, here he is. Okay. Well, let's
Okay,
see.
let's
Should
show him the
we?
transition.
Okay, I had the.
There you go.
I had this board up. Yeah, this is fine. We'll look at a couple moves in this game. So there you see it's SR, beautiful transition. And as I was saying yesterday, if you're curious why, if I'm watching Will's stream, why does this look so much better than usual? That is, of course, because of Christian K behind the scenes. And hopefully someday I can learn to make it look closer to this. So,
Same,
all right.
yeah.
So we have this. So we're talking about this situation. It's probably a little bit easier if we just show how when Fox is on the board, it creates. So Lukeman, just note that he has this huge spot where he has a Z. He plays Fox on the board. That Z fits here with an E for an enormous score, 60 points alone for that Z. But he actually did have this play of Fae for 50. I love the setup play, but we can see how many ways it goes wrong. First, if
Another thing,
Dave has an
actually,
E, oh, go ahead, sure.
another thing is, I mean, sure, Faye is like 50 points, so you're only down 20 after that. But after that play, I mean, anti-sag that doesn't have a hook, there's really not much left to do on the board already after turn 2. So another benefit of playing Fox, I'm really just trying to justify it, to be honest, is that it leaves parts of the board open on the left side that Faye would just block a lot of the time.
That's not a bad point. Yeah.
And if
So you
something
have
happens
more
underneath
open.
the re-overlaps, If that happens, just even a big score of a re-overlap under Fox, that creates that double spot. AXE, I mean, that takes a D, an L, an S. So, I mean, depending on what goes there, under the SO, it could have potentially lethal problems attached to it.
The funny thing also, to build on what Josh is saying, that if Dave were to have a play that underlapped this, literally the only consonant that you can put in this spot that wouldn't give a re-paralleling opportunity if you drew another S is the Z, right? Like the Z is the only tile. Pretty much everything else, I think SOCS is good in Collins.
Mm.
Every other letter that you can put under there is going to give a spot there. Is that true? Hold on.
And if not, SOCA and SOCK are words, so it doesn't really.
Yes, SOCS is good in Collins only. Okay, so yeah, all the other plays that Dave might make under here will continue to give overlaps back. So Lukeman making this opportunity to hit this Z and a play in that spot is probably going to give him the lead and make it very close to, like, it'll give him a lead on a closed board. So that was a pretty cool play.